Hey, what's going on? Last day of the month, September 30th. Where has the time gone? So my question to you at the end of the month, it's what I ask all of my students. Are you making progress? My question to you today is, are you making progress? Are you making progress? Are you making enough progress? What does that look like for you? Listen, I hear this all the time. So you say you only lost a half a pound this week, but you say you're not making enough progress. And let's just do the math for a minute. Let's talk about that, because I want to just put some things into perspective, because chances are one of two things. If you're not doing anything, then yeah, you're probably not making any progress at all. But if you are, if you're working hard and you have some structure and you have a good plan in place and maybe you're seeing a little bit of progress, let's talk about what that looks like. Because I hear this all the time. Mark, I only lost a half a pound this week. I only lost a half a pound. Well, let's just kind of do the math for a minute. Let's just say that today is week 38. I think we're in the 38th week of the year, give or take a week, right? I think there's 14 weeks left. 38 weeks have passed in the year so far. So let's just say you lost a half a pound. Say you started out in the new year and you lost a half a pound. Think if everything was dialed in and things are perfect and you only lost a half a pound per week. It's 38 weeks. You can do the math. What does that come out to? 70 and 18 pounds, right? 30, am I right? Am I doing the math right? So let's just say you lost 18 pounds, right? Wouldn't you be happy? Chances are yes, right? Oh, no. But, my friend Cheryl or my friend Christy or my friend Heather or my friend John, he's lost 20 pounds in 1 month. He lost it, right? And what happens? Then you start comparison. You get caught in this comparison game. And it's kind of like the Joneses, right? Keeping up with the Joneses. And here, I'm not talking about the Joneses today. I'm talking about progress. And if you feel like you're not making progress, well, there's two things. If you've been working hard and you're spending a lot of time and a lot of effort, but you're seeing no progress. Maybe you're seeing a pound up and then a pound down and then a pound up. And maybe you started in the new year at 200 pounds and you're right now at 200 pounds and maybe you even lost 20 pounds in the first month of the year. But look, we're coming around the corner. Last 3 months, last quarter of the year, starting tomorrow, 3 months left. And guess what? That 20 pounds is still on your body. In fact, you put on an extra COVID-19. So my question to you is, it's not about just a half a pound here or half a pound there. It's about learning the solution to getting the weight off, learning how to not just get the weight off, but to keep it off. And how do you do that? Well, there's a lot of ways to do that. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you all of the ways, but I'm going to tell you that it does require more than just looking at the scale. Because think about this, you can poop out, sorry, I have to just be open and honest and transparent. You can poop out a half a pound. That could be your lunch. That could be the difference. So if you're relying on only the scale to tell you whether or not you're making progress, then you probably need some other things in place to set some parameters for goal setting, right? Here could be one of those. How are your clothes fitting, right? How is your food? How are you eating, right? Do you feel full in the day? Are you still snacking? Do you still drink as much as you did back when you said you were going to stop drinking? Are you binge eating over the weekends? What are those things that are getting in the way of you being your absolute best? And then think of this. When I talk about people being their absolute best, what does that mean? Well, what does it mean for you? What does it mean if you could be at your absolute best? What kinds of things would actually happen if you were able to get that weight off? Say you did lose that 18 pounds. What are some of the things that you would do now that you weren't able to do? Maybe you have more. Maybe you have 50 pounds. Look, if you lost 1 pound a week for 1 year, right? The average is, for my students, is anywhere from 1 to 2 pounds per week, right? Sometimes more, sometimes less. But we don't just look at the scale. In fact, that's actually one of the worst ways to measure progress, is just looking at what the scale says. So first off, you're going to need some more ways to measure progress, right? How you feel, how you're sleeping, how strong you are, your pictures. If you don't do any pictures and check what you look like in front of the mirror, maybe you can't. Maybe your progress is actually, you used to not be able to look at yourself in the mirror and now you can. That's a goal, right? That would be a good goal. But also think of that. Let's just future cast. What if for the next 3 months, let's just say you lost the next 14 weeks. Say you were able to lose, let's say, a pound or two a week, and you could take off 20 pounds. What would that look like coming into the new year? Well, you would be excited because you're like, holy cow, Mark, I usually put on 5 to 10 pounds over the holiday season, and I now not only didn't put on 5 to 10 pounds, I actually took off 20 pounds or 15 pounds, right? And not only that, I fit into some of the holiday outfits that I was never able to fit into. They just sat in the back of my closet, and I was waiting for the moment. And then I had the moment where I wanted to put it on, and I couldn't put it on because I didn't fit in it. And I felt self-conscious because it was kind of tight fitting. And you know what? It showed all the ripples and all the fat that's hanging off, the muffin tops, right? Those are kind of those things that make you feel, just terrible about yourself. So I don't want you to feel terrible about yourself, but I also want you to know the measuring progress, you have to look at it at a lot of different angles. You have to take a look at what is progress, right? If you're just disappointed that you lost a half a pound, maybe you're disappointed that you took 20 pounds off in the first of the year, and then the lockdown happened and you put back those 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 pounds, and you put on another COVID-19 or maybe a COVID-29 or maybe 39 pounds. But the reality is, if you don't do anything about it, it's not going to change. You can wallow in self-pity. You can make up excuses. You can say, oh, I'll just wait till the new year, Mark. Well, what if you didn't wait till the new year? What if you not only put on the weight that you put on so far, that you continued on that journey for the next 3 months? Let's just say you put on 1 to 2 pounds a week for the next 3 months. What does that look like? 14 weeks. You can put on another 20 to 30 pounds before the end of the year. And then, oh, well, I'll just start fresh in the new year. But then now you have that extra 15 to 20, 30 pounds that you're going to have to be fighting against. And it's a battle. It's a battle. So that's a lot to say, right? In the daily dose. Am I getting you depressed? No, I want to encourage you because I don't want you to get there. I don't want you. I know what happens time and time again. I've been doing this 25 years. Now, 25 years of going through New Year's resolutions and seeing people shoot themselves in the foot. They shoot themselves in their foot every single year, and this is when they start to shoot themselves in their foot. Because what are they saying right now as the holidays start around the corner and it gets chilly and you want to, you can put on more clothing so you can hide all the rolls, you can hide all the muffin tops, you can hide all of the extra weight you put on over the past maybe 6 or 8 or 9 months or the whole year, and then you don't have to worry about it, you don't have to think about it, and then guess what? The holidays are here and you're like, you know what? I don't really feel good about myself. Let me just have another pumpkin spice latte. That'll make me I'll feel whole and I'll feel complete. Let me just have some more of that comfort food that's going to just make me feel better about myself. It is not going to make you feel better about yourself. It's going to make you feel better the time you eat the food, and that's it. Trust me, I'm there. My wife makes amazing mac and cheese. There's delicious food. Trust me, I would eat pizza every freaking night if I could. And I love the taste of it. It makes me feel good, right? But it's so temporary. And that relationship with food, if you're focused on that relationship with food, I'll tell you what, it ends up leading down a dark path and a dead-end road. And not only that, you can end up on not just a dead-end road, an overweight road. And that whole, there's this addiction that we have. And I'll tell you, to be completely honest and transparent with you, I'm sharing with you as you're looking at the progress and getting pissed off that you only see a half a pound lost on the scale. I want to look at the bigger picture. Here's the reality. If we kind of dig a little deeper, let's dig a little deeper. Are you with me? And if you're watching live, please let me know that you're watching live. If you're watching the replay, I would love to know if you're watching the replay so that I can check back in and see if you made any comments, right? And I know this will pass by. Maybe you'll listen and you won't really think about it too much. And then the new year comes, you're like, you know what? Mark talked about that 3 months ago and talked about that relationship with food. And let me just share this with you. As human beings, whether you're a believer, you have faith, or not, whether you know God, have a relationship with God, the reality is God created you. And the reality is that He created you in the image of Him, and He created to worship. Unfortunately, we get that misconstrued and we start to worship other things. And if we don't have God in our lives, it makes it a lot harder. It makes it a lot easier to worship food, to worship, even people that work out all hardcore. Don't get me wrong. There's people on the other spectrum that worship their bodies. They worship the way they look, and they're all about themselves, self-centered, right? And then there's also this relationship with food, and we tend to go to those comfort foods because we start to realize that makes us feel good, and then we start to worship that food. And guess what? It becomes an addiction. Just like our body awareness, you become overly addicted to your body, just like it comes with anything else, not just food, with alcohol, with sex, with power, with money, with pride. All those things can be kind of addictive, if you will, right? And I think, unfortunately, we all get stuck in that, myself included. I'm going to call myself out here and say that I get just as stuck sometimes. But the reassurance when I come back and I see a beautiful sunrise like this morning sunrise, and I look and gaze in that sun, I can't really look at it straight on. You can through the screen here. And I look at the beautiful gift of another day, a beautiful sky. Look at the beautiful sky right there. Beautiful gift of another day. And I think to myself, as that's what God intended for us to worship. He intended us not to worship necessarily the sun or the clouds, but who made it? And I'll tell you what, if you can bring it back to understanding that the true worship, the true addiction, I say, and I know even people, I can say this, can get overly addicted to God in a sense that it becomes more about laws and rules and regulations, and it really just comes back to the relationship. You see, I've realized the one thing that can complete me, and maybe you don't know this yet, and again, it's not going to be the half a pound or 20 pounds or 50 pounds on the scale. It's still not going to make you complete. I've seen people that have gotten the best shape of their lives, and they're still lost. They're still upset. They're still disappointed. They're still anxious. They're still not satisfied with the way their body looks. I've had people time and time again that get in amazing shape and they're still not satisfied. And they think that if they can only get to that weight on the scale, that that's going to be what satisfies them. The reality is it isn't. The only thing that satisfies you is the one who created you. And I want you to go into today with all the kind of craziness going on in this world, all of the struggles, all of the conflict, right? All of the left side and the right side and the red side and the blue side and the ethnic side and the this side and the march side and the protest side and all those things. Is I want you to go back and we all need a lot of prayers. And you know what? The prayer comes in just looking up to the Lord who created you. Who created you. He created you not perfect. He created you perfectly in the image of Him. And I would say that enough just to give gratitude for today, whether you have a half a pound on the scale, up or down, whether you maybe haven't done a damn thing about your health up until now, maybe you've been lost for past 10 years. I want to just encourage you today that you don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to keep struggling. There are people out there. I'm one of them. I'm not the only one, but I'm one who not only cares about my relationship with the Lord, about my relationship with my body, with my food, who cares about other people who really don't have a clue right now about that relationship with food and their body and life. And I just want you to know, and I'm praying for you, and I want you to know that I am a coach and I'm destined. I made it a pursuit. I've said this before, to help over 1,000 people this year. I'm not done yet. I'm not even close to being done. But I'll tell you, if you give me an opportunity, send me a message, we can get on a call. We can see if I can be of help. And if I can, we'll get you in my corner. Because we're not meant to go through this life by ourselves. We're not meant to shelter our problems and struggles. We're not meant to only show our highlight reels in front of the camera. Literally last night, you clearly saw there was no highlight reels going on in politics last night. I'm sure people are going to be talking about it, but at the end of the day, we're all flawed, we're all broken, and we all need each other to get through this life together. So I'm just going to share with you that I am only one person, and I am flawed, and I'm messed up, and I'm jacked up, and I like my pizza, and I get kind of overly concerned about things, and I mess up. And you know what? I accept it. I know that at the end of the day, God loves me regardless, and He loves you as well, whatever the scale is saying. But I know He doesn't want to keep you where you're at. I know He doesn't want you to be just going through life kind of ho-hum, kind of mediocre, kind of on a slow path. Now, you might be on the slow path to weight loss, but I'm talking about just settling. God didn't settle when He created you. He made you amazing. And I want you to realize that, and the power you can if you actually let yourself. I think the hard thing is for people sometimes is to let themselves win. Let themselves get healthier. Let themselves forgive themselves for maybe some of the things they've done in the past. And my hopes and prayers for you today moving forward is that you move forward, you take a step forward, not backwards. And even if you do fall backwards, is that you can wake up another day, have another sunrise, and you can start new and start fresh, and today can be that day. So anyway, I hope this found you well. 8 a.m. daily dose. If you enjoyed this, all I ask is that you share this with somebody to encourage somebody. And again, in a world where there's a lot of discouragement, there's a lot of who knows what's going to lead tomorrow. I don't know what's happening tomorrow, but I know who's going to be with me along the way. And that's the relationship that I have with the Lord. So take care. Have a blessed one. We'll talk soon.